All right. And before we get started, I have to say that your virtual little at-home setup is like the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Thank
With the handout and everything, I've showed multiple people and was like, this is amazing. You can have it at home.
you do. In fact, I do have it set up here right now. So let's see if I can get this to flip around. Here we go. So here's a tiny little miniature version of my booth, which you could download the files for this yourself and print it out on, they're in the app and they're also on my website. And so I got to have the booth of my dreams where I actually got to have an orange corduroy couch, which I've always wanted to have. And then also every year as kind of a memory of a very hot summer in Dixon where we participated in the 2005 Sheep to Shawl, I always bring the shawl to have in my booth. And so I made a little standee of the shawl, which is the most beautiful it's ever looked. That tiny version. Yeah. So I just wanted to try to think of something that was made it extra fun to still like be able to shop and look at booths, but not be able to come to Lambtown. So yeah, I encourage everybody, print it out. And if you get the PDF, also to print out yourself, you can click on everything in there. So if you actually see anything that you like, you can click on it and it would take you to my shop.
Pretty awesome. So sorry to detour that. I just had to say that it was like one of the most like new kind of, it showed a lot of ingenuity. The mini booth was cute and I've seen it set up on multiple different people's sets. So that was really cool to be able to see that we can have it in our house.
Not a detour. I'm staying in front of it right here because I wanted to show it off. So thank you for bringing it up.
Absolutely. So go ahead and kind of give us an overview of what you got.
Okay, sure. So I thought maybe I'd show you a couple of products because and tell you a little bit about myself. So this November will actually mark my 15th year in business and my 14th year laser cutting notions for stitchers and knitters primarily. And that's because that's what I do myself. And a lot of my designs are just motivated by my own personal need and finding that I wish I had some kind of tool to help me accomplish something. And so I'm also a very technical individual. And I don't necessarily do a lot of super creative content. There's a lot of people that make a lot of really beautiful, creative laser cut items. They have a lot of artistic, and mine are just kind of a little more geometric. So I have like kind of very technical, utilitarian, practical tools. And I make them because there's something that I would want to use. And I try to not actually make anything if someone else is making it. I'm not going to make something just to have it unless I think there's something that I can do that would make it a little bit better or a little bit more specific. And I have a couple things here that I thought I would show you that are examples of stitch markers, which are something that, there's tons of stitch markers that you can get. And in fact, I was actually showing off to my friend a lot of the polymer clay, really cute like progress markers that I had purchased lately, and a couple laser cut ones that I had got that were really cute because there are so many people that are better at that than me. But I do have a couple of items which it always is interesting to me that I'll sell a lot of them when I'm in my booth and can tell somebody a little bit more about them, but they don't necessarily sell online because it's hard to explain the exact use for it. And they are kind of specific, and I know that they're like a little bit too tedious for somebody, but I'm always stopping my projects in the middle, taking a break from them and needing to come back. And I would find that there's a whole array of stitch markers on there. And even though I still have the pattern, I have no idea what all those markers are for. So one of the main products that I make are stitch markers that I call instructional stitch markers. So they're markers that actually have the instructions of what you're supposed to do. And these are some of my favorite ones. They're so tiny we can't see them. It's true. I mean, I can barely see them in real life. But that's what's great about them. So I make sets of stitch markers that you can get in a box. So this is a set for toe-up socks. And the reason it's for toe-up socks, you can use it for anything you want, is that it comes with a needle gauge. And yeah, they're so tiny, they're invisible. It comes with a needle gauge that goes from a 00 up to a 3, so something like sock size needles. And the markers themselves say knit 2 together, K2 tog, or SSK. I think.
Oh yeah,
there we go. Yeah, finally figured it out. And there's 2 of each, knit 2 together, SSK. And the idea with those is that you can use them on the heel of the sock when you need to do heel decreases. But when you're working your toe up sock increases, I like to use the knit front and back, which you could also kind of use for whatever your preferred increase is. And the thing about these that I really like is they have one ring on them, which makes them not too dangly. So you can see they fit on a sock size needle. This is, I think, a 0. They fit on there. They don't get in the way. They're really lightweight. And then what you can do is when you're doing a toe up sock, you really only need to do your increases every other row. So when you use one of these, you can do the increase. I forgot to actually do the increase. Oh my God, I've never knit in front of people. I'm nervous. It's hard to make.
Don't worry, there's only me here probably.
It's hard to make me nervous, you guys, but you did it. Congratulations. Okay, so we knit front and back. So we know we've done the increase, and on the next round, I don't need to do it. So when I pass the marker, I flip it around. And then when I come around to it on the next side, it's gonna be on the blank side. And so I know when I come around again that I don't need to do the increase there. That's the row where I just knit everything straight across. So that if something happens and you have to walk away in the middle of the row, you don't have to read back all your knitting on the super tiny stitches to figure out what's going on. Which, I mean, you can do, but also if you don't have to and you can just stash this away like this in your sock bag and not worry about it, then I feel like that's a big help and might save you, you know, those 15 more minutes that you get a knit instead of 15 minutes that you can spend trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of genius comments and things like that. And I'll admit, I am one who usually has to, on the heel, go back and increase twice or decrease twice instead of just once, because I'll have certainly forgotten it on the actual decrease round and found it, you know, 2 in because I just assume that I'm going to see it. And I see that since you only have the one ring, it's not going to flip around and it's not going to accidentally show the other way. And you still have to think about it. That is genius. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and for also when you buy these, they come with a bunch of the little kind of pear-shaped pins that you can use as removable markers, so that if you wanted to use them with larger needles and a larger project, you can hang them on these. They don't retain the ability to be flippable, but at least it makes them usable. For a long time, I had the ideas to make these, and I was like, these are too small to sell. I can't charge anyone any money from these. And I will fully admit, you are basically renting it from your couch. Like, most of them are going to end up, at least mine, end up in my couch cushions, and you have to go on an adventure to get some of them back. So, you know, just sorry about that. They're very small. But so that's why I love them so much.
You're also providing us a reason to clean also. Because,
that's right, yeah. You can maybe get some quarters, too.
That is pretty good. Yeah, that is really awesome. Yeah, and I like all the kits that you have. It's always one thing that I've appreciated when we go into your booth. You've always got these amazing different kits. One of the things that I got last year, and I wish I actually would have brought it in here, is the little cactus prickly, and I saw that you entered that into the virtual booth.
It is. They're here. My favorite type of customer gets everything, including cactus prickers. They're out today, too. So I've actually did a live stream all day today. And I did get a request to see the plant prickers. So they still exist. I don't think they're listed on my website right now, but I can add them because I do have some in stock, you know, for all your fall planting. But we can grow succulents all the time, and they're great at keeping them friends.
That's true.
So I did have kind of a new development in my products in general. And this was actually kind of motivated by some collaboration with Chase from the Black Squirrel. So I thought I would show you these, which is that this year I'm slowly switching from doing all round stitch markers to doing hexagonal shaped stitch markers. These were actually initially motivated by waste that I had from making a honeycomb shaped floss organizer. And I turned the stuff from the inside it is motivated by bees. I turned the inside of those into markers. Okay, my stuff is too small for my phone camera. Sorry, guys. I should have warned you. Okay.
That one's showing up pretty good though. It's showing up much better than the
Yeah, that's right. They are 10 times bigger than the other ones. But I'm able to make all of these with much reduced waste. So instead of cutting in a circle, I'm cutting everything in hexes, and then I don't have the waste plastic around the edge. So even though like we might not want to use too much plastic, this is a way that we found something that's like really reusable. And I do like the fluorescent colored ones with the white because these work well on both light and dark projects. They show up on both of them, so they're pretty versatile. And these are a fraction of a set for a sweater set, where you can label, like if you're doing a raglan sweater, you can label the different sections of your knitting for the front and the back of your knitting, and then the right sleeve and the left sleeve, so that you can remember which section of it you're supposed to set to the side. I also just recently started making a set of these. Oh, and they include a beginning of round marker as well. And I also started doing a set of these that are for cardigans that have left front and right front as well. These are right now only available as sets, but almost everything else that I sell on my website, you can do as a mix and match as well. So if you just want a couple, I have like some markers for marking your steek stitches, the sole or instep of your sock, anything where you think you might forget what's going on if you put your work down. I try to make something to help people with that. And I also take requests. So even if you have a small number of something that you want to make, it's really easy for me to make them, and I can make a custom label for you for any of your work. So I thought there was one more thing that I would talk about, and then I don't know if maybe anybody has any questions, but one of the other things that sells really well in my booth and doesn't necessarily sell really well online are something that I call needle labels. And so I brought, which somehow this doesn't make it to shows, which it easily could just bring the whole thing with me, but I have my double pointed needle case, and inside is my needles that are labeled with the needle markers. And so these are little tags that have both metric and US measurements on them. And then they have a hole that is the size of the needle. So when you're trying to organize everything in your knitting needle case and you have all your DPNs floating around separately, if you know if it should go in this bundle, you can just test it, and then you know it goes in the bundle, and there it goes. So instead of like spending a ton of time using two separate tools to keep everything together and also label it, there's one thing that you can use for doing both of them. And they're just on little rubber bands, which so far these rubber bands, I mean, they don't last forever, but I don't know. I just like my stuff to have a really long lifetime. Maybe I have some of my OG greater than 10-year customers out there, but I started making everything using Shrinky Dinks, and a lot of those customers are still using those plastic Shrinky Dink based stitch markers. And so I'm really proud of that. And I try to make sure anything that I make now is going to last that long. So the worst case scenario with this is that you might have to change it to a different rubber band, but anyway, those are really, really helpful. And if you are participating in the Bay Area Fiber Fest, which I'm sure some people have talked about today, that would also help you with an organizing challenge.
Yeah, I've seen your stuff pop up in the Lambtown Bay Area Fiber Fest, like two birds in one stone sort of deal. So, yeah, it works out. And I did see that, I think it was Kira had posted that she used your virtual booth setup in the image for the game on the app that we have.
Oh, yeah. We were actually just going through the app, my friend and I, a little bit ago to like try to do some of the click and win games and look at some of the old pictures that are in there. So we're just starting to catch up on that.
Yeah.
So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty cool and pretty fun. We have some comments that one says, I love your organization and ingenious products. We have another that says, I'm going, why didn't I think of that? So useful and great. Yeah, the needle labels are really cool, and I can see why they maybe are a little bit more sold in person, just because it's like, oh, why is there a hole in there, without the in-person explanation of like, oh yeah, no, it's actually a very useful hole. There's a reason it's there.
And those are also mix and match on my website. So if you go ahead and organize first and then decide you want 5 tags for sets of 0s and 1 set for 2s, like you can do that. There's no minimum on them, and you can piece together whatever you want. And you can also use them standalone if you want to just use them on a circular needle. You can put the circular needle through the hole, and then in that case you need one for every needle, which is kind of a lot. But if you have a nice set of circular needles that you want to keep really organized, that's one way that you can do it. You
might be like me and have multiple sets of the same size of circular needles, and maybe you just want to keep all of those together because you keep using those too. So
yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I've got, 8 pairs of the exact same size of sock needle in a couple different ones. We do have a question from Joan. Do you have any suggestions on organizing circular cables?
I don't. I mean, I actually went through a struggle early in quarantine when I was organizing my needles myself, looking for a really good circular knitting needle case. And my favorite one that I had seen was a Chicken Boots one, which she doesn't make anymore. So I think if you sew, you can sew your own by buying her pattern. But that is one of the best ones that I had seen. It was an accordion style and had enough envelope spaces in it that you could put a lot of needles in it. I know some other people use something that's kind of like a plastic binder insert for like CDs, because they have squares that are a couple inches and you can swirl them up and stick them in there. But if somebody comes up with something clever that they need a tool for your circular needles, let me know.
Joan does say that they can organize the needles, but have lots of different sizes for the cords.
Oh yeah, like an interchangeable set. Yeah, those are tough.
The length.
Yeah. So maybe you
can label all the different lengths. Yeah, okay, maybe something that helps you label the length.
Yeah.
As well. Okay, that's a good idea. I'll think about that.
And then Leah's wondering what the sweater pattern is behind you.
I just finished this. This was my quarantine knitting project, and if I was participating in the Bay Area Fiber Fest, I would submit this as my finished project. I started it in May when it was 108 and 8, and I finished it in September when it was only 100, so in Oakland. It's Humulus by Isabel Kramer.
Okay.
And the yarn is Abundant Earth Fiber DK Weight. I forget the actual name of the yarn, but they're the ones that make it.
And then are you working on any new products?
Am I working? I have been doing a couple new projects. A lot of the things I've been doing are trying to modify some of my existing stuff for reducing waste. But I've been working on doing a couple of small looms. And again, looms are kind of one of the things where there's a lot of people that make those. And unless there's something specific that I can do differently to improve it, in my opinion, or make it more user-friendly, I'm not going to make one. But I am working on some looms right now. I thought I might have them done by now, but I didn't work out. Well, I guess I should mention also, usually if you were in my booth shopping, I would give you a Lambtown stitch marker. And so this year, as long as supplies last, which I think would definitely make it through today and tomorrow, so it shouldn't be a problem, I made some Lambtown stitch markers. So if you order something, I'll include one of these in your order. And I also usually make a Lambtown stitch marker box. And this year, since we had virtual Lambtown, I made him trapped in a little retro TV. So this will come, if you order the box, it comes with a stitch marker and a little needle gauge inside. So you can keep all your virtual Lambtown goodies in there.
Super cute. Sorry if you had to hear my dogs. Do you have a newsletter or anything like that?
I do. If you go to my website and you scroll down to the bottom, you can sign up for my newsletter. It goes out probably only like once every 2 or 3 months. When I have something new to announce, I'll mention it, or if I have a sale. But other than that, it's not a very high volume. It's not a high volume publication. I don't know what you say. I won't spam you too much. And also I'm on Instagram. I'm Girl on the Rocks. There's a bunch of links in my bio there that would help you find my Lambtown live page, the live stream if you want to watch it, and also my shop, of course. So you can find me there.
Excellent. So we do have Kelly from the Royal Bee here. So thank you so much for taking the time. I did link your website in there. It looks like the newsletter subscription is all the way at the bottom. So for
Yeah.
anyone who wants to subscribe and be the first to know about the loom when it comes out, then that's where to go. So I'll go ahead and get you promoted back to attendee. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice talking to everybody.